I thought I came home just to bury my mother. But I had no idea I was about to exhume the truth about my entire life. The moment I opened the old apartment door, the air hit me like a ghost. Stale. Heavy. Full of things unsaid. I hadn't stepped inside since I left for Greece 10 years ago. I worked as a nurse in Thessaloniki, long shifts, lonely dinners, dreams packed away in quiet drawers. I told myself I'd left for opportunity. But really, I'd run away from silence. My mother and I weren't close. Not really. We loved each other the only way we knew how, distantly, awkwardly. Her sudden death from a heart attack forced me back. Not just to attend her funeral, but to sort through the remnants of her life and, apparently, mine. Valia, I'm so sorry, said Aunt Lita, hugging me stiffly. She was my mother's best friend. A woman who smelled like lavender and wore her guilt like a second blouse. Come in, she added, nodding toward the living room. Make yourself comfortable. Comfortable? In a dead woman's apartment? I wandered from room to room, running my fingers across dust-covered furniture, unopened books, curtains that hadn't moved in years. The silence screamed. Then I saw it. A suitcase. Old, beige, and oddly unfamiliar. Tucked beneath the bed. I had never seen it before. Curious, I dragged it out, unzipped it, and what spilled out changed everything. Inside were baby clothes. Little dresses. Shoes. A tiny knitted hat. And 2 hospital tags. Both said Steblova. But one said Valentina. The other Zoya. My heart stopped. What is this? I whispered aloud. Why are there 2? Then I noticed the stats. Valentina, 2. 248 kilograms, 48 centimeters. Zoya, 2. 652 kilograms, 46 centimeters. Different times. Different birth weights. But the same date. Same hospital. Lita. I called out, holding up the tags. Come here. Now. She appeared in the doorway, pale. Where did you find those? What is this? Was I a twin? Her mouth twitched. Oh no, oh Valia. I stepped closer. Tell me the truth. Now. Lita sat down like her knees had collapsed under decades of secrecy. You had a sister, she said finally. Her name was Zoya. But I was told she died. At birth. No, Lita shook her head. That's not true. I couldn't breathe. She didn't die? I said. All this time, she's been alive? Lita nodded slowly. There was a situation. Your parents split. Badly. They fought about who would take which child. Eventually, they decided your mother took you. Your father took Zoya. And we all stayed quiet. You stayed quiet? For over 20 years. I gave your father my word, she said, barely above a whisper. My father. I blinked. You mean, wait. Lita. Are you telling me he's your brother? She nodded. I stepped back. So, you're not just my mother's best friend. You're my aunt. My real aunt. Tears filled her eyes. I never wanted to lie to you. But your father made me promise. And then, time passed. I couldn't think. I felt like I was floating above myself, watching some stranger's life fall apart. So all this time, everyone lied to me. And no one, not even you, thought I deserved the truth. I'm sorry, Valia, she said. God help me, I'm sorry. I stared at the tags in my hand. Zoya. My twin. My blood. My shadow. Gone from me before I even knew she existed. I had to find her. Don't look for her, Lita said later that night, after I had cornered her in the kitchen. Why not? Because she doesn't know about you. And she might not want to. I laughed bitterly. She doesn't want to know she has a sister? That she was taken from me. She's complicated. She's been through a lot. She's not like you. I don't care. I need to see her. Valentina, she said, grabbing my wrist. I'm begging you. Let this go. No. I pulled away. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. The funeral. The suitcase. The tags. The lies. I thought I was grieving my mother. But now I was grieving something I never even had, a whole other life. A sister. The next morning, I left for Chernihiv. All I had was a name, a city, and the overwhelming need to look Zoya in the eyes. I had no idea what I would say. I just knew I could not say it. When I arrived at her address in Kiev, my hands were shaking. The neighborhood was quiet, too quiet. As I rang the bell, I imagined every version of her. Soft, cold, excited, confused. I didn't expect hostility. The woman who opened the door, tall, sharp-eyed, severe, didn't even let me finish. "Take your drama somewhere else," she snapped. "Please, I'm just get off my porch before I call the police." The door slammed shut. I stood there, stunned, holding my breath, my heart breaking a little. It wasn't Zoya. It was her stepmother. And she had mistaken me for Zoya herself. The resemblance was that strong. I barely made it to a nearby cafe before collapsing into a chair. My legs felt like rubber. I stared out the window, wondering what the hell I was doing. And then, "Zoya," a voice behind me said. I turned. It was a man. Tall. Smiling. Holding 2 cups of coffee. "I'm not Zoya," I said, stunned. "I'm her sister." His eyes widened. "She never said she had a sister. That makes 2 of us." He laughed softly, then sat down beside me. And, just like that, a stranger sat across from me, sipping coffee and unknowingly opening the next chapter of the most confusing story of my life. I didn't know it yet, but this man would change everything. The man's name was Gina. Short for Hennedy, but he told me to call him Gina. He said it with a wink that felt too familiar for someone I'd just met. "You really don't know Zoya?" I asked, still catching my breath from the shock of being thrown out like a thief. "I know her," he said, sipping his coffee. "Well, I used to know her." Used to. That explained the warmth in his eyes and the chill just underneath. "She never mentioned having a twin?" I asked. "Not even once. But, now that I see you, it makes sense." He stared at me with a mixture of recognition and disbelief. "It's like seeing her, but not." I nodded. "That's exactly how I feel. Like I'm looking at a version of myself I never lived." We sat in silence for a moment. "I want to find her," I said. "Can you help me?" He hesitated. "Her stepmother, Svetlana, if she saw you, she probably thinks you're Zoya. That could cause some issues. She already threatened to call the police." He chuckled. "That tracks." I leaned forward. "Please. Just a phone number. Anything." "I'll do better," he said. "She lives nearby. Works close too. I'll call her. You two need to talk." Everything in me tensed. I had no idea what this meeting would look like. Would she cry? Hug me? Run? All I knew was, I had to see her. She arrived 15 minutes later. Dark jeans, fast steps, a long braid down her back. The moment her eyes landed on me, she froze. "What the Zoya?" Gina said carefully. "This is Valentina." She stared. "What is this? Some kind of prank?" I stood up. "I'm your sister." A beat of silence. Then laughter, sharp, brittle. "This is a joke, right? You expect me to believe I have a sister just walking around looking like my reflection?" "I found the hospital records," I said, digging in my bag. "Tags. Baby clothes. A suitcase full of things our mother never told me about." Her eyes narrowed. "Our mother?" "Yes. I'm not making this up." She turned to Gina. "You knew about this?" "No," he said quickly. "Not until today." Zoya looked back at me long and hard. And then, suddenly, her tone changed. "You have a car?" "No, Then let's go. My place is around the corner. We can talk there. I've got food to grab anyway. My son's coming home from school." Her son? My heart flipped. We walked in silence. I followed her up cracked stairs to a small, cluttered apartment. She pushed open the door with her shoulder. "Come in," she said. "Just don't touch anything that looks like it might fall apart." Inside was chaos, shoes, toys, half-folded laundry, and a faint smell of cigarette smoke and fried onions. But it was home. Her home. And soon, a voice piped up from the hallway, "Mama." A boy, maybe 9 or 10, popped out from behind the door. Big brown eyes. Sticky hands. "This is Valentina," Zoya said. "She's your aunt." He blinked. "I have an aunt?" "Apparently," Zoya muttered. "Hi," I said gently. "You can call me Aunt Valia." He gave a small wave. "I'm Misha." I smiled. "It's nice to meet you, Misha." He stared at me like I was a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit, curious, but cautious. Zoya disappeared into the kitchen, calling out behind her. You want tea or vodka? I followed. Tea. Your loss. That evening we talked. More like, danced around the truth. She told me bits and pieces about her life, her jobs, her struggles with money, her resentment toward our father, her loathing for Svetlana. I told her about Greece. Hospitals. Loneliness. Mom. But something felt off. She kept looking at me sideways, as if waiting for me to say something incriminating. Like I had a secret agenda. You seem nice, she said finally. But I don't trust people who show up with old stories and big smiles. I swallowed hard. I just wanted to know you. She sighed. You sure you want to know me? I'm not the sister you imagined. I almost said maybe you are, but I held back. Zoya was sharp-edged, guarded, quick to speak, slow to feel. I could already see it. We were identical, but not the same. The next morning, I found her at the table, chain-smoking and scribbling on a notepad. You leaving today? She asked without looking up. No, I said. Still got a few days. Selling Mom's apartment. Her eyes flicked toward me. Which one? The one we lived in. Together. Oh, she said. You're selling it? I have to. Right, she nodded. Then paused. That was my mother too. I looked at her. You didn't even try to contact her. Ever. She gave you up. She didn't even fight to keep both of us. That wasn't her fault. She shrugged. Doesn't matter. I still grew up without her. We sat in silence. The room suddenly felt much colder. Then she leaned back and said, I want half. What? The apartment. It's half mine. My mouth dropped open. You're not even in the will. I'm still her daughter. I stood up. You can't be serious. You didn't know she died. You didn't even. I'll take it to court. She said it so casually, like she'd done it before. Like it meant nothing to her. I stared at my twin, my sister, and realized I had made a terrible mistake. This woman didn't want a reunion. She wanted a cut. I left the apartment trembling. Outside, I called Gina. Can we meet? Sure, he said. Same cafe. When we sat down, I couldn't even look at him right away. You okay? He asked gently. She wants the apartment, I said. He whistled. Yep. That sounds like Zoya. Did you know she was like this? He shrugged. She's been through things. Grew up rough. You can't blame her for being defensive. She's not defensive. She's cold. He didn't argue. I rubbed my eyes. I wanted a sister. Not a lawsuit. You got both, he said quietly. Then, after a pause, but you also got a nephew. He likes you. That's something. And it was. It really was. Misha was the only soft thing in this sharp, broken family. But even that small comfort didn't prepare me for what would happen next. That night, Zoya vanished. Zoya had a real estate appointment that night. A house showing somewhere outside the city. Big sale, she said. Rich client. Gotta look sharp. She pulled on boots, tossed on lipstick, and asked me for a few hundred hryvnias before disappearing out the door. I'll be back by 10, she called. Put Misha to bed. Don't wait up. But I did. I waited. 10 came. Then 11. Then 2 in the morning. No calls. No messages. No footsteps in the hall. At first, I told myself she'd stayed with a friend, gotten caught up in something. But the longer I sat on her old couch, watching the hands of the clock crawl past midnight, the more certain I became. Something was wrong. I wasn't just worried. I was terrified. She might have been cold, selfish even, but she wasn't reckless with Misha. She never stayed out without telling someone. Not like this. At 7 a.m., I walked into Misha's room. He blinked up at me. Where's Mom? She had work, I lied. She'll be back soon. His stomach growled. There was almost no food in the house. I made him dry toast and found half an apple in the fridge. He ate it like it was a feast. She said we're gonna have lots of money soon, he told me proudly. She's selling a big house. Then she'll buy me new shoes. I forced a smile. She'll keep her promise. But my voice was tight. Wrong. And he noticed. By noon, I couldn't sit still anymore. I called Gina. She's gone, I said, pacing the sidewalk outside her building. It's been over 12 hours. No sign of her. No one's heard anything. He cursed under his breath. That's not good. I don't know where to look. I don't even know the address of the place she was showing. I'll try to find out, he said. But Val, Zoya's made enemies. This real estate gig, it's not always clean. I froze. What do you mean? She sometimes cuts deals without the agency. Makes cash off the books. Buyers save money, she takes a bigger cut. But if something goes wrong... He didn't finish the sentence. I swallowed hard. So you think something went wrong? I don't know. But I'll ask around. Later that afternoon, Gina picked me up in his car. We drove in tense silence to the neighborhood where Zoya's agency was located. You shouldn't be the one asking questions, he told me. You look too much like her. If anyone thinks you're Zoya... He didn't have to explain. Instead, he parked and got out. Wait here. I waited. And waited. After half an hour, he came back with a grim look on his face. I know the address she was showing, he said. A new property on the edge of the city. Construction site. Not even finished yet. He started the car. Let's go. When we arrived, the place was eerie. Huge red brick walls. No windows. Piles of materials stacked in the corners like sleeping monsters. And in the small gravel lot beside the building, Zoya's car. Locked. Empty. I told you, Gina muttered. I saw it here last night when I passed by. But I didn't know she never made it home. My hands were ice. Do you think she's still here? I don't know, he said. Maybe she left with someone. Maybe not. He took a breath. There's a basement. What? In the house. It's half finished. I didn't check it before. It was dark. He looked at me. Stay here. I couldn't. I followed him. Every step felt like a scream in my ears. Gina pushed open the heavy basement door. A groan of rusted hinges echoed through the empty structure. We descended slowly. The stairs creaked. The air smelled of dust, dampness, and something else. In the corner, he found a handbag. Zoya's. I recognized it instantly. I'd helped her pick it out just 2 days ago. And near it, something darker. Blood. Streaks on the wall. A smear on the floor. Oh my God, I whispered. That's her blood. Gina crouched, touching nothing. It looks like it. She's hurt, I said, suddenly breathless. We have to find her. We have to. Val, he said gently, we need to go to the police. Now. We did. And for the second time in a week, I found myself sitting across from a stone-faced officer, telling him a story that felt more and more like fiction. My sister went missing, I said. This is where we found her things. Are you twins? The officer asked, glancing between me and my passport. Yes. He raised an eyebrow. You're sure she didn't just run away? Or leave on her own? She has a son, I said. A job. A showing. She would never vanish like this. He sighed, scribbling on a form. We'll file the report. But his tone told me everything. They didn't believe me. Or worse, they didn't care. That night, I stayed at Zoya's apartment with Misha. I tucked him in, told him another lie about his mother working late. Then I stood in the kitchen alone. In the same spot where just days ago she had joked about vodka and burn onions. And I cried. I cried for the mother I never understood. For the sister I'd just met. And for the boy asleep in the next room, who still believed his mom was coming home. I didn't want to think the worst. But in my gut, I knew Zoya was in trouble. And I was the only one who cared enough to save her. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of little feet padding across the floor. Misha peeked into the kitchen where I was half asleep at the table. Did Mama come back? I didn't answer right away. He stepped closer, watching me. No? I shook my head. Not yet. He looked down. Okay. Then quietly added, I had a dream last night that she called me. Said everything was okay. I smiled through my heartache. Dreams sometimes come true. But my chest was heavy with fear. After Misha left for school, I met Gina again. We were both exhausted. Neither of us had slept. I've been thinking, I said as we walked toward the cafe. What if she left a clue? Somewhere in the agency. He sighed. Val, you shouldn't go there. Why? Because they'll see you. And they'll think you're her. And what if that's exactly what we need? He stared at me. You want to pretend to be Zoya? I don't want to. But maybe I have to. Gina didn't like it, but he agreed to help. We came up with a story. I'd go in pretending to be Zoya, asking about a missing file from the house showing. Something simple, non-threatening. I wore her coat. Let my hair down like hers. Practiced her sharp walk and quicker speech. Inside, the office was dimly lit and smelled like cheap coffee and dust. A woman at the desk looked up. Zoya, you're back. I nodded. Yeah, just for a minute. She barely glanced up again. You left your phone charger here. I nodded again, pretending I knew. Right. And there was something else. A folder. Client from the red brick house. You know which one I mean. Mr. Artem's deal? She asked. I froze. Yeah, that one. The woman frowned. Zoya, you already have that file. Right, I said. Just double-checking. You okay? She asked. You don't sound like yourself. Didn't sleep. She leaned in slightly. You really need to be careful with Artem. He's not someone you want to screw over. I swallowed. Why? She lowered her voice. He's not just a buyer. He's connected. Connected how? She gave me a look. The kind you don't ask about. My heart dropped. I nodded, took the fake charger, and left. Outside, I collapsed into Gina's car. She said a name, I whispered. Artem. Apparently, Zoya was handling something for him. Off the books. Dangerous. Gina clenched the steering wheel. Artem? You know him? I've heard of him. Loans. Land. Threats. She got in over her head. He nodded grimly. We need to find that guy. That night, I got a call. A voice. Male. Cold. Zoya. You're late. My throat closed. I think you have the wrong number, I managed. No, I don't. He hung up. I dropped the phone. They were watching. They thought I was her. And they wanted something. The next day, I went back to the apartment to check for anything, clues, contacts, anything Zoya might have left behind. As I was going through a drawer, I heard a knock. A sharp, aggressive knock. I froze. Another knock. Then a voice through the door. Zoya. Open up. Now. My legs turned to water. I texted Gina one word. Help. Zoya, we know you're in there, the voice barked. I stayed silent. A moment later, the door handle jiggled. Then slammed. Again and again. I backed away, heart hammering. Then silence. And finally, retreating footsteps. 2 minutes later, Gina burst in through the back stairwell. Are you okay? They were here. They were trying to get in. Gina's face turned pale. We need to get out of here. We drove until we were outside the city. I didn't ask where. I just knew I needed air, quiet, and space to think. Sitting in Gina's car with the doors locked, I turned to him. I can't do this anymore. You can, he said softly. You already are. What if something happened to her because of me? Because I showed up? Stirred all this up. She got into this before you ever arrived. But now that you're here, you're the only one looking for her. His words stuck with me. The world had already moved on. Only I was still searching. That night, I checked on Misha again. He was quieter than usual. Sat curled up with a book he clearly wasn't reading. You okay? I asked. He nodded. Yeah. I sat beside him. You miss her? He looked up with wide eyes. You think she's still alive? I smiled as best I could. I do. He nodded again, slowly. I think she's in trouble. I can feel it. Me too, Misha. Me too. That night, as I lay on the couch in the dark, I clutched Zoya's necklace I'd found in her drawer. I whispered her name. And I made a promise. I will not leave the city until I find you. Whatever it takes. The bruises on my arms were already blooming purple. I couldn't remember how long I'd been in that room. 2 men. 1 voice. A cold echo. Tell us where the money is, Zoya. No matter how many times I said, I'm not her, they didn't believe me. They didn't care. To them, I was her. And she owed them something. And now I owed them too. It started that morning. Gina had gone to check another lead about Artem. I was alone, picking up some clothes from Zoya's apartment. I should have known better. Should have stayed in public. But I was too tired to be smart. Too determined to feel afraid. And that's when they grabbed me. Pushed me into a van. Tied my hands. Blindfolded me. And drove. No questions, no names, just silence and the sick hum of the highway. Until we stopped. Until I heard the metal door scrape open. And then the first question came. Where is the money, Zoya? When the pain got too much, I stopped talking. I bit my lip until I tasted blood. I focused on one thing. I am not her. I will survive. It's strange what your mind does when it thinks you might die. I saw Misha's face. I saw my mother's old apartment. I saw Gina, smiling at me like I was someone worth fighting for. I saw Zoya. And then, suddenly, I heard her. Her voice. Not in my mind, for real. Shouting. Screaming. Outside. The door burst open. And there she was. Zoya. Hair wild. Clothes soaked from the rain. Fury in her eyes. Behind her, Gina, out of breath, shouting at someone to call the police. Let her go. Zoya screamed, launching herself toward one of the men. Chaos. I don't remember how they got me out. I only remember her arms around me. Tight. Real. Shaking. I'm here, she whispered. I'm here. And I broke. At the hospital, I had a concussion, bruised ribs, and a whole lot of questions. Zoya sat beside my bed. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. I didn't know they'd go after you, she said. I didn't think it'd go this far. You disappeared. I had to. Artem found out I was skimming. He sent people. I ran. Why didn't you tell anyone? Why leave your son? Her eyes filled. I thought I could fix it. Then come back. I didn't know they'd find you. We were quiet. Then I asked, why did you come for me? She laughed bitterly. Because you're the only person who's ever looked for me. That night, we lay in the same hospital room, me in the bed, her on the small couch by the window. Neither of us slept. We whispered in the dark like we had known each other our whole lives. Because we had. In some strange way, we had. We really are sisters, she said softly. Same face, same blood. But not the same heart, I replied. She flinched. I mean, I tried to explain, we're different. But maybe that's okay. She nodded slowly. You made me want to be better. I turned to her. Then start by being his mom again. Misha needs you. I will, she promised. I swear I will. The next day, the police took our statements. Artem had disappeared. But it was only a matter of time. Zoya was scared. I was scared. But we were together. We'd figure it out. Back at the apartment, Misha ran into her arms so fast I thought they'd both fall. You're okay, he cried. I'm home, she whispered. And she was. Finally. That night, as I packed my suitcase for Greece, I found a note in my jacket. From Zoya. It read, you saved my life. So I'm giving you mine. I'm not taking a penny from Mom's apartment. It's yours. But please don't sell it yet. Come back. Someday. Let's be sisters for real. I cried like a child. And for the first time in my life, they were tears of hope. 3 days had passed. No sign of her. Zoya had vanished. Again. But this time I knew it wasn't by choice. Something had happened. Something bad. I kept checking in on Misha. He was quiet. Too quiet. He hadn't asked about his mother in a whole day. That scared me more than anything. I found him sitting on the couch, still in his school uniform, eating plain bread. You okay, sweetheart? He shrugged. Did you eat anything else today? Bread. Just bread? He nodded. She said when she comes back, we'll have money. She said she'd buy me new boots. My throat burned. She will, I lied. She will, baby. I knew I couldn't keep this going. So that night, I wanted the one person who might still care, Zoya's former stepmother. The woman who once called her a disgrace. But when I told her Zoya had been missing for days, she froze. She didn't come home at all? I shook my head. She sat down slowly. I warned her this job wasn't safe. You think clients are just buyers, but she never listened. Do you know where she might have gone? No, she whispered. But if she didn't come back by now, she's in trouble. I think so too. I met up with Gina the next morning at a cafe. He looked tired, haunted. I talked to a guy who knows Artem, he said. I think I know where they had her last time. The same house. No, different. An unfinished development just outside the city. We drove there fast, not speaking much. Gina handed me a flashlight and said, "Stay behind me. If anything happens, run." "No," I said. "I'm not leaving her again." The building looked dead. Empty brick, broken windows, wind howling through unfinished rooms. But the car outside, Zoya's car, was there. "She's here," I said. Or she was. We crept in. My heart was thudding so hard it echoed in my ears. The place smelled like dust and mold and something metallic. I wanted to scream. Then, down a concrete staircase, in a cold basement room, we saw it. A blood-stained scarf. Her scarf. That's when I collapsed. Not because I thought she was dead, but because I was sure she had been here. And no one had helped her. Gina knelt beside me. "We'll go to the police. This time we go officially." "But what if they're too late?" I whispered. "They won't be." He looked at me the way no one ever had, not as someone broken or dramatic or soft. He looked at me like I was fierce. Like I was the only one brave enough to walk into the fire for someone I loved. Later that evening, I was sitting with Misha, trying not to cry, when my phone rang. A strange number. I answered. A shaky voice whispered, "Valia." My breath caught. "Zoya?" She was alive. Weak, but alive. She had escaped. She didn't know how, just remembered running. Crawling. Calling someone. Passing out. They left her in a park on the edge of town. I grabbed my coat and flew out the door. When I found her, her face was battered. Her ribs hurt. Her shoes were gone. But her eyes, they were hers. Fierce. Stubborn. Beautiful. I knelt beside her and held her like a child. "You found me again," she whispered. I never stopped. Days passed. She recovered slowly. Bruises faded. Misha smiled more. I extended my time in Ukraine. I couldn't leave. Not now. Zoya started cooking again, helping Misha with homework. She even joked once. She was becoming a mother again, the kind she always wanted to be. And I started sleeping better. Not because everything was okay, but because we were finally together. One night, Zoya gave me an envelope. "What's this?" I asked. "Money. For the apartment." "No. You earned it. And besides, I'm not taking anything. It's your mother's too." "She was yours. Mine was the one who let me go." I took her hand. "You're my sister." She nodded. "I know. I didn't always act like it. But I'm going to now." My flight back to Greece was early. Misha cried. Zoya held it in, but I could see it in her eyes. She didn't want me to go either. "I'll come back," I promised. "Soon. You better." As I stood in the airport, staring out at the gray sky, I realized something. I came here for a funeral. For closure. To say goodbye. But I was leaving with a beginning. A family I never knew I had. A nephew who now had two mothers. And a sister, wild, broken, brilliant, who was finally learning how to heal. Somehow, that trip home to bury the past? It saved all of our futures.